My name is Annika Mandel. I'm a longtime instructor and coordinator of the Ames Adult Education and Literacy program here in Ames. We offer free high school equivalency classes. Most of you think of it as GED, but we don't offer the GED in Iowa anymore, to anyone who's 17 and older from throughout this region, mainly from throughout Story County. This past year we served 130 students, just to give you an idea of our range, and we had a record for us, 45 graduates. And one of our graduates was kind enough to join us. This is LaShawn Brooks, who remarkably juggled high school equivalency classes with full-time parenting responsibilities. He has 6 children, and yeah, remarkable, and also full-time employment. So he's also going to go on to work tonight, so it's great that he's taken the time to join us. We're delighted that you were asked to participate in the forum, and thank you for your willingness to respond to our question. So I'm always a big talker. LaShawn gets the short part. Nationally, adult high school equivalency programs have seen a dramatic increase in youth participation in the last decade, so 16-year-old youth and older. Students from low-income families, students of color, and students with learning disabilities and behavioral and emotional disorders tend to be disproportionately represented in our programs. And this is mirrored by our Ames program demographics.
And as a father of, LaShawn Brooks again, but as a father of 7 kids, but 6 is just in my house at the moment. And we asked question, what do you think about Ames Community School District's efforts to prevent high school dropouts and keep youth engaged in school? Would you recommend any changes? Thank you.
Well, congratulations and thank you for being here. What I can speak to is what I've learned as I've prepared to run for the school board, and I know that our Student Success Program is really trying to work to identify key factors that relate to a potential dropout in the future, and to be able to be proactive in nature in our school district so that we can identify what those factors are and hopefully help those students through those factors so that they remain in the school system. Obviously that is the optimal choice, is to keep them in the school districts. It's wonderful to hear that we do have that support, and I knew about it, but to have that support if they do not remain in the school district, but continuing to make sure that our Student Success Program is providing that program so that we can try to identify and be proactive in our approach in identifying these students. So thank you what you're doing with the students.
Well, thank you for asking the question, and thank you for being involved in the program. That's, Mr. Brooks, that's great. That's great. And coming here tonight, because you said you had to go to work later?
It's a night shift.
Thanks. These types of programs are very, very needed. And yes, the demographics that our high school population very much mirrored throughout the state and the Midwest, are mirrored throughout the Midwest. We need to make sure that we're providing the resources for this program, that we're steering kids. But to avoid those dropouts, we need to start identifying, and actually the middle school does quite a good job of starting to identify at-risk students, meeting every 3 weeks to look at students that are struggling for various reasons. There can be many, many different causes. And they start to identify those students, they provide them either with the in-school assistance or out-of-school assistance. That needs to be continued. That's now being brought to the high school in various ways. That is also dropped. The actually dropout rate in the district has decreased. One question, though, I did have a few weeks ago was in relation to how children are disciplined and what effect suspensions, whether they're in-school suspensions or out-of-school suspensions, are done. And unfortunately, there was no data, and I didn't get it. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. That's quite an accomplishment on your part, and I hope success for you from here forward. You know, I think it really comes back to identifying students at first contact, and I think we're doing that here at Ames. And I'm not just talking about at the high school level or even at the middle school level, but at elementary level. The founding blocks of learning start when we first enter the school district. It's the reading, the ability to write, the ability to do simple mathematical equation. That's where really all learning starts and develops and grows and expands from. And we do a wonderful job right at first contact of identifying students that are struggling, trying to create plans to specially meet their needs so that they can continue to progress and hopefully marry up with their classmates as they continue to grow and learn. As Mr. Rosser hit, we have a program in place that we're using in the middle school right now where we're meeting, they're having group discussions and trying to identify kids that are at risk and then trying to find mitigating ways to address that issue. And then Principal Evans at the high school, Spence has been a wonderful addition to our leadership team. He has a rule of thumb that he wants to have a point of contact for every student in the building, a staff member to that student, so that no student walks in the door and feels like they're lost or they're alone.
Thank you guys again for the question. I really think that, the correlation between dropouts and school districts is just connections and what kids can get involved in. And we're lucky that Ames has so many things that kids can get involved in if they want to do, if it's academics or if there's any kind of DECA clubs or anything like that they can get involved in. The more touches and the more people they know in the school district and their peers, the better. When we first brought on our couple foster daughters, they both did their own path, and they both found different ways and different avenues to get connected with kids, and it was great that they were in open arms, and some chose the path this way, some chose the path of sports, and it was great that Ames had the ability to offer to all types of people.
Thank you for the question, and really I can't say anything more than what's been already spoken. From a visuals perspective, to expand upon what Rodney said, when Spence first came here, he asked all the teachers on a board over there to put up all the teachers' names. He then put up a board of all the students, and he wanted people to connect teachers who he had a connection to, and they actually had a string that connected those. And they asked the students to come in and do the same thing. So his point was he wanted to make sure every student had at least one connection. So I think that's a great representation of someone thinking, okay, what kind of culture do we want at our high school? It really starts with the teachers and making sure that they connect both from an academically and social point. If students are sitting in class and are bored to death because the material is too far below them, they might wander off. If a student is struggling and maybe can't read as well and he needs help, we need to provide an individualized program that can meet his or her needs as well. So making sure our kids are engaged and also connecting to just teachers and staff. And also if we have some resources available outside the community, we had a great report from YSS of the things they're doing to help the school district both in Ames as well as the surrounding communities. So we're doing great things and we're always looking for opportunities to help.
Okay.